sharing the truth one fact at a time. This is the Free America Radio Network.
From behind enemy lines in FEMA Region 9, in the biggest little city in the world, Reno, Nevada, you're listening to The Views Expressed Live. Hey folks, yes, it is a live show today on the Free America Radio Network on the 4th of September 2014. How y'all doing today? Doing good? Awesome. We got an abbreviated show today. I got some things, life goes on. Life goes on and things just seem to happen at every 5 minutes. So today's going to be an abbreviated show. So my apologies for those listening live and in the podcast, in the archives. Just so much going on in the world today. The world has just gone bat crap crazy. Have you noticed that? I mean, have you noticed literally how things have changed over the 6 years? Have you noticed that? There's two things I've noticed in the last 6 years. One, the hype of the 2008 presidential election, where this virtually unknown senator came from behind and wound up being president. And that's one of the things I've noticed. And I believe that there were people in the campaign that were talking about his legality of residency in the United States. And the other thing that I saw was 2012 presidential election, where being in a room full of people who obviously had absolutely no chance at winning the presidency and going up against another candidate, after all was said and done, who basically the media tore into and made to look like a complete doofus. And we wound up having this man in the White House twice. This is what has really jumped out at me in the last 6 years. And as a result of that, I find that people are just too stupid. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm pretty sure they had great intention on voting this man into office the first time. But then, the second time around, what? And now, his own party is rebelling against him. Even the vice president is sounding more conservative. Well, anyway, I use that term loosely for Joe Jar Jar Biden. So it's going to be an interesting abbreviated show today, folks. It is what it is. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, and even if you disagree with me, you can email me at freeamericaradio@usa.com. freeamericaradio@usa.com. And if you're not already there, go to freeamericaradio.us. I shall return right after this. Don't wait until another natural or man-made disaster strikes. Have at least 72 hours of emergency gear near you at all times, and that includes food. Get your emergency food supply today. Go to freeamericaradio.us and at the top of the page, click on the emergency food supply link. Help your family by purchasing as much emergency food supply as you need. You'll be helping out your family and Free America Radio Network. Thank you. Howdy, folks. How you doing? This is Reverend Wayne S. Pierce right here for the 4th of September, 2014, right here on the Free America Radio Network with the views expressed live. Yes, we are live. It is not a podcast. Yes, I was kind of concerned earlier today as to whether or not I was going to have a live show, but I'm here live. Remember, if you're old enough to remember those commercials for Memorex, is it live or Memorex? No, I'm live. I'm right here. FreeAmericaRadio.us is the website. FreeAmericaRadio@USA.com is the email address. And the Facebook page is Free America Radio. So go over to Free America Radio on Facebook. Let's check out what we have. TheLibertyBeat.com. New cyber bill threatens privacy. That's one headline. The other headline here at personalliberty.com, as Obama focuses on aiding illegal aliens, Americans call for stronger border security. Yes. From the newamerican.com, Justice Department fines company for, get this, quote unquote, citizenship discrimination. Oh, we're going to get into that one. And if I have time, I'll get into one of these two articles as well. From videos.huffingtonpost.com, CIA admits monitoring Twitter and Facebook. And the other one is the freethoughtproject.com. An ex-police sergeant tells how and why you should fight all speeding fines. And if I have time, the freethoughtproject.com also has, for the 8th year in a row, police trained to take on citizens in massive military-style drill. So, what do we got, folks? Well, let's hit the first article, shall we? A lot of things happen, folks, that we're not aware of. I mean, for example, if you send your kids off to school, do you know exactly how the school are treating them? If you are in a position to where you are teaching kids, and you're an instructor of some sort or a professor in college, do you know what the parents are doing? No, not at all. But you see, the federal government, Washington, D.C., the military-industrial complex, and all of that want to know what you and I are doing at all times. We could be making love to our wife, to our husband. We could be doing something. We could be eating. We could be watching television. Do people have televisions? We could be playing games on the computer or whatever. They want to know what we're doing at all times. 24/7, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. They want to know. I mean, it's almost as if it seems like it can be similar to what we want to know about the Hollywood elites and the actors and actresses and all the gossip that comes out of there, right? So it's kind of like a reverse of that. But the federal government wants to know what we're doing. So they put these things in place to basically monitor us at all times. From the libertybeat.com, an article posted yesterday by Derek Bros. The Electronic Frontier Foundation is calling on all activists and private advocates to join in a fight against the Cybersecurity Information Sharing Act, CISA. And the EFF calls CISA a quote-unquote privacy invasive bill that will allow companies legal immunity to spy on users and share their information with agencies such as the NSA. The watchdog group is asking those concerned with the bill to tweet and email senators demanding they do not support CISA. The bill is the latest in a wave of cybersecurity legislation that has been rejected by the public, including SOPA and CISPA. And there's a link there for all of you, which I will highlight and copy and paste into Free America Radio on the Facebook page to read the rest of that story. I want to draw your attention to something vitally important, folks, if you haven't noticed already. Your privacy. To you, it's a big deal. To you and I, it's a huge deal. It's a massive, exploitation of weakness if we let our guards down and the federal government knows exactly what we're doing at all times. It is also illegal for the government to just, they're going to spy on us. It's illegal for them to do that, period. Well, according to what we understand about the law, right, it's illegal. But you see, from their point of view, they feel that they're justified because it's a war on terror. Folks, the war on terror is a farce. They set it up. Much like the war on drugs, that's been going on for many, many decades. They're the ones that are shipping the drugs into the United States. You ever heard of this little thing recently called Fast and Furious? Hello. I have talked to many different people about many different things, but I found one of the things that is seen as a huge, massive freaking joke to a lot of people, and that is the war on whatever the government decides to put a war on about. I mean, it doesn't matter really what you and I think because the government's going to do it anyway. It doesn't matter what you and I want according to the government from their perspective because, we can go and yell and scream and jump up and down and protest all we want. The government's just going to, shoo us away like, just like flies on you-know-what, and they're going to do whatever they want anyway. At least that's the mindset of some. See, for people like you and I that listen to this show and many others like it, there's something that can be done about this, and something will be done about this. And if you go look at Ernest Lee on the Guerrilla Media Network on his show, General Lee, as he's called on that show, you will see a huge I'll put it this way. You will see and hear a person who literally is pissed off at the government. And folks, he's a truck driver. He brings product to the places you buy it from. Okay? And he said something today on his show that is perfect, and I totally and absolutely agree with him. We need to get to that point, if we're not at that point already, of saying enough is enough. That's what I say. What he says is we need to go to Washington, D.C., and take the citizens militia and the military that has come to the side of the citizens of the United States of America, go to Washington, D.C., and this is what he says: arrest every single person in Washington, at the White House, and in Congress. That's not verbatim, but that is the gist of what he said, and I totally agree with it. Okay? I don't care who it is. It can be the assistant to the secretary of, cupcakes and cornflakes. It doesn't really matter. Arrest them all. Now, what that would sound like is a military coup against our own government. It's happened before. We see it in history. It's happened before. False flag events, as we know them today, happened in our own government years ago, and people weren't so, let's just say, sophisticated and educated at that time. The general public wasn't, but some people got wind of it and put two and two together and pieced the puzzle together and figured out what happened and revealed it. So, the cycle of that whole takeover was pretty much put on the back burner. Because over the last 238 years of the United States of America, we have had many, many different groups of people wanting to totally and absolutely destroy Washington, D.C., take it over, and run the United States of America as a dictatorship. They've wanted to do that. There's groups of people. So the bigger the group got, specifically around 1871, and the Freemasons and the Illuminati and all these other people got together and all that and formed what we know today as a democracy. Okay? Democracies don't work, folks. Go look it up. They don't. A republic of people, by the people, for the people works. Democracies have never worked. Go look it up. But some people would argue with me and say, well, it's the best that we have right now, so we have to work with what we have. No, we don't. Because the Declaration of Independence says that we shouldn't. Okay? Says here, when, in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundations laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence, indeed, will detect or dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes. And accordingly, all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when the long train of abuses and usurpations pursuing invariably the same object evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Such has been the patient sufferance of these colonies, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former systems of government. The history of the present King of Great Britain is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all having in direct object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states. To provide this, let facts be submitted to a candid world. That is the declaration, the opening of the Declaration of Independence. Congress, July 4th, 1776. I am at the point now where we have to literally tear down the wall of tyranny. Tear down the wall of tyranny and prosecute each and every person that has constructed it. It is now time in 2014 to make your voices heard. To make the earthquake with the pounding of your feet in the streets against the tyranny that is present in the United States of America. It is now time to take the reins away from the power. Take the reins away from the powerful, away from the tyrants, away from the usurpers. And it's now time to put out the clarion call to those who want peace, freedom, and security and liberty in the United States of America. It is now time to rest your soul on the fact that we have to come together now and defend this country one more time. Not in a foreign nation, but in our own land. I'll tell you what. We, the people of the United States of America, the citizens, we, the people who were born and raised within the borders of the United States, whose ancestries go back in this country many, many centuries, we are the ones who will take back this nation. We are the ones who will stand for freedom, for peace, for liberty upon the land our forefathers conquered. Now, on the other hand, there will be those that will say, well, there were natives here when we showed up from Eastern Europe, Western Europe, just all over the place. There were natives here. There were people already here, and we came here and killed them. Not all of them, but enough to help us become the dominant force. And I have to say that yes, that is true. But I also have to say that we gave choices and chances to many, many different people. And they stabbed us in the back. We gave the blood, the sweat, and the tears to build a nation, and the 13 colonies that stood up against King George saw the advantage they had. And when they battled the biggest military of that time, the British Army, they kicked some major ass. And that wasn't the only battle. Okay? That wasn't the only battle. We had the Battle of 1812. We had the Spanish-American War. Which was in 1898 between Spain and the United States. The result of the American intervention in the Cuban War of Independence. We had, I'm looking this up as you can tell, the Mexican-American War. And that was the United States and the Centralist Republic of Mexico, 1846 to 1848. And that followed in the wake of the 1845 U.S. annexation of Texas, which Mexico considered part of its territory, despite the 1836 Texas Revolution. So we've been fighting wars for a long time, folks. We've gotten good at it. And now we have this group of people calling themselves the Islamic, what is that, the Islamic State or something like that? Well, let me tell you something. They take one step in the United States of America, they're going to see just what an American jihad really is. Not on their front, not from their point of view, but they're going to see some very, very pissed off Americans, and they're going to see what it's like when you have hundreds and millions of Americans fighting to defend their country from foreign enemies. Oh, and by the way, ISIS or the Islamic State, whatever you want to call them, was created by the United States military-industrial complex and our allies. Yes. Go look it up. It's the bottom of the hour, folks. Like I said, it's going to be an abbreviated show, so I shall return right after this. Don't go away. FreeAmericaRadio.us. FreeAmericaRadio at USA.com. FreeAmericaRadio at USA.com. Want to know what's happening all around us? You do? Great! Come check out the Diana and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri Talk Show, Friday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern, right here on Spreaker.com. Have a nice trip. See you next fall. Attending their daughter's wedding in South Africa promised to be a vacation of a lifetime. But first, they had to face the treacherous gauntlet known as modern-day travel. Waiting for them on the other side of the world are an honest-to-goodness safari with amorous lions and elephants with anger issues, a life-affirming visit to a South African school, and an anxious bride and groom standing patiently at the airport with a sign that reads, "What took you so long?" The answers lie within the pages of Please Hold Thumbs, a not-so-round trip to South Africa, a true tale of turbulence and triumph from travel mug Scott Cherney, author of Red Asphalt. Available at Amazon.com in paperback and on the Kindle.
This is Michael Vera with Late Night in the Midlands, and you're listening to The Views Expressed live with your host, Reverend Wayne Pierce, on the Free America Radio Network.
You're listening to The Views Expressed right here on the Free America Radio Network. Hey folks, how you doing? This is Reverend Wayne S. Pierce right here for the 4th of September 2014. This is the Free America Radio Network. This is the Views Expressed live. And yes, we are live. I'm calmed down now. I'm not going to preach to you. Go to Free America Radio on Facebook. Go to personalliberty.com. As Obama focuses on aiding illegal aliens, Americans call for stronger border security. Yes, close the damn border. Okay, period. That's just it. Close the border. Somebody said or asked the question that if we close the border and we allow them to come in and stay for a day while we do the background check on them, would that help? No, just close the damn border and tell everybody to, pack it up and go home. Close the border and send them all home. And if ISIS wants to try to cross the border, then we got a couple of 50 cows, we got some tanks, we got some citizens, militia. I don't think they're going to get 10 feet into the United States. By the way, they're already here. Did you know that? In some reports, they're already here. So look out for them. Sam Rowley over at personalliberty.com wrote this. Thank you, Sam. President Barack Obama's amnesty-laden immigration policy is out of touch with a growing number of Americans who, since last year, have increasingly favored strengthening border security and enforcement of existing immigration laws. Polling data out this week from Pew Research reveals that 33% of the Americans now feel that the federal government's immigration priority should be securing the border and enforcing existing immigration laws. That's compared to 23% who believe that the focus should be on making it easier for people coming to the United States illegally to stay. While the number of Americans supporting heavy government focus on creating an easier path to citizenship for illegal aliens has changed little since the early days of Obama's second term last February, support for stronger enforcement and border security is up 25%. The changing views on the importance of securing the nation's borders and enforcing existing immigration laws are likely a direct result of the current immigration crisis involving thousands of new immigrants, most of them unaccompanied minors, no they're not, flooding across the southern border. The illegal immigration influx has overwhelmed border authorities and created a massive backlog in immigration courts. President Obama, speaking at a press conference last week, indicated that his plans to take unilateral action on immigration reform are on hold for now. An unnamed White House official familiar with the Obama administration's immigration plans said that the president will likely wait until after the November midterm elections to act. So that's on there. And my question is, why do we have the borders open anyway? Why are there Border Patrol down there? Why is there not 100,000 military troops on the border? Okay, why? I'll tell you why. It's real simple. Our border is apparently, this is apparent now, this is allegedly, this is what it is. Okay? The border is not the southern border at Mexico. It's now over at Guadalajara, or I don't know where the hell it is, in El Salvador, whatever. That's where the border of America is now. I doubt it. I mean, symbolically it could be, but I don't know. So I'm going to say this from some other information that I have received and read. I believe that the numbers are a little low. I think it's not only 53%. I think it's more somewhere in the vicinity of about 70 or 75% that the American people want that damn border closed now. We've got 92 million, if not more, people out of work, looking for work. We've got very few, in the millions, working part-time, who once were making really good money working full-time, and now we're struggling to get by. We've got people in the streets, protesting and getting arrested for protesting for a higher wage at McDonald's or Burger King or Taco Bell. How's this for a solution? I know some of you might get all pissed off at me, but you know what? It's all right by me. How about this? How about we take and we round up all of these illegal aliens, we grab them by the short hairs, and we throw them back over the border. Now, somebody would say, well, they've come from broken countries as well, and their country is failing, and there's coups going on, and people want to be saved, so they come to the United States to be safe, and they want a better life for themselves. Yes, I totally and absolutely 100% and utterly understand that completely. Question is, what part of illegal don't people understand? But in Mexico, they have pamphlets and books on how to come to the border and get through. Terrorists, it is on record from the government's own findings that terrorists cross the southern border. They go into Mexico from another country, change their name, change their looks, dress like the Mexicans, and walk over the border. It's on record. Go look it up. Other countries, such as, the ones, I can't remember the three, El Salvador and all that, where all these people have come from. There's certain people who forge the immigration papers that these people have when they cross the border. It's on record. It's already been found out. There's fake papers out there. There's places in the United States where this stuff is being made and shipped over to Mexico so they can come over to this country. Okay? But the thing is, and my whole point is this, we need to close the damn border, period. End of sentence, done. We need to close it. Well, you're a racist. I've been called every name in the book, and people have made up a few names as well. I know what I am. I know looking at this, what the reasonable and rational solution should be for right now. America is on the verge of complete and total collapse right now, today. We don't know if it's going to happen tomorrow, next week, next year. We don't know. But it's on the verge of a total collapse. And you don't even have to look at your state-run media to know that. You can just walk around town. You can just go to the stores. You can see it. It's in front of your face, but you're not accepting it. There are people out there in total denial as to what's going on. So what do? What do? Well, it seems like our government, Washington, D.C., is looking at us, you and I, and saying, piss off. We're going to do what we want. We're going to open the borders. We're going to collapse the United States. You're either going to get fired from your job because the illegal aliens that are coming in here, that we're allowing to come in here, need work, and, you're making $8, $9, $10, $15, $20 an hour. We'll bring the Mexicans and everybody else in here, and they'll get paid, I don't know, $4, $5, $6, $8, $10 an hour. Doesn't matter. Folks, have you realized that it was the entrepreneur, you and I, that made this country? That secured our own well-being by doing something for ourselves? Did you not realize this? But the government, our ever so broke Uncle Sam, is being bitch slapped into collapsing. Okay? I can see it. I don't know why anybody else can't. I look at this stuff out here and I'm seeing what goes on, and I can see why people are in denial. I can see why people don't want to see any of this. I can understand this. I can understand why people don't want to feel or see or understand. I completely get it. It is so overwhelming that you never want to look at something that could possibly change the way you see things. I get it. But how's that going to protect your family? How's that going to protect your livelihood? How's that going to protect your job? How's that going to protect your neighborhood, your communities, if all you do is live in a constant state of denial? And if you're not denying it, and if you see it, I'm sure you're going to tell me, I just ignore it. I just don't. Yeah. Has it ever occurred to people that maybe, just maybe, it's time to open up your freaking eyes and see what's going on? Has it ever occurred to you to do that? Have you put yourself in a position to where you're saying to yourself and other people, I don't want to see things because if I do, it will affect me? That's ignoring it, people. That's ignoring it. You're pushing beyond the rationale and securing yourself in a suppressed feeling of, I don't care. Now, brace yourself, folks. I'll give you a reality check that won't bounce. you're totally being duped, and you're being controlled to believe that, to understand that, to live that, and to be that. Because the state-run media knows exactly what they're doing when they want to control your mind. It's incredible, folks. It's just incredible. You know, I've said it before and I'll say it again. And let me give you the exact quote that I put up today. I wrote this. As soon as I find it, it's one of it's one of those things, folks. I mean, you just look for something and you're like, oh, there it is. Oh, not quite. Okay. I don't know. Here it is. But I'll wait till after the top of the hour. Well, no, I got time. I'll do this. I got time. Here's what I said this morning on Facebook. And I'll put this up on the Free America Radio Facebook page for you to read as well. It is basic. It is straightforward. And it's a reminder, okay, of how I see these things, as I say here. I said, I have had it. I'm done with people that criticize me or others without ever checking things out. Seriously. I was reading a few posts this morning and found some of my friends here having issues with people like Alex Jones or Glenn Beck or others like that in the alternative independent media. Well, let me make this statement as a reminder of how I see this. If you cannot or will not supply absolute proof about those I've mentioned, that they are on the dole with the federal government shills, then you have nothing. You are just slamming and bashing without anything to back up what you say and using every contradictory piece of information, notice I didn't say evidence, to attempt to prove your point. You're wrong, period. I like my friends, I really do. I enjoy talking with them. I am fascinated by the things I learn from them, but there are times they are completely off base and have no idea what they're talking about. Sure, there's more things they know compared to what they don't know. I get that. But to talk crap about someone, people have talked crap about me. I ignore it. I know who I am. Without having anything to back it up, that's just not right. And that excuse that is used is getting old. Quote, I don't have to prove anything to anyone. Unquote. Yes, you do. You have to prove it to yourself. Verify what you're looking at. If you find that it's important to share, share it. If you feel it's best to keep it to yourself, please do until you get more information. It's that simple. So, what is my point? Simple. Say what you want, but you better think twice before bashing someone without having the information to do so. I respect you all. Just pay attention. Thanks. Oh, and one more thing. I could be wrong. I'm fine with that. Here's a reply. A couple of replies. Diana Nelson, the other host of Diana and Wayne's Grab and Bag Potpourri Talk Show, says, it's interesting how those who complain never even listen to these people. If a person doesn't like them, then of course they don't. But how would you know what they are saying on a daily basis and putting it to the test of what is really happening? They don't, and that is the problem. And this other person said, horse crap. Everyone has a right to their opinion. And Michael Vera, who you heard the promo for there on a little while ago, says, I trust no one but me. And if you don't like it, then unfriend me. And he laughed. LOL. Glenn Beck and Alex Jones are very entertaining. And I said, I agree, Michael. They are very entertaining. But this other person that said horse crap, he said the S word. I'm cleaning it up for you. Everyone has a right to their opinion. I want to say this. I'm going to make this point before the top of the hour. It is true that everyone has a right to have an opinion. I agree. I also agree that everyone has a right to express that opinion in whatever way they see fit. I totally agree with that. I stand on that. Even if I didn't agree with you, I would still stand next to you, supporting you in your right to free speech and freedom of expression. Even if I didn't agree with you. Because you have a right to say what you say, and that's fine. But as I tell people, and as I have told people in the past, no one has a right to contradict me. Now, I'm using me as an example. Everybody else has a different perspective on this. I'm using me as an example. No one has a right to contradict me. Oh, we can discuss things and disagree and agree and, buy each other lunch. I mean, that's fine. But you contradict me. That's why I said you have to prove to yourself and verify these things to yourself. If you think I'm wrong, you have to prove to yourself that I'm wrong. And then share that information. Would that not be the right thing to do? Because you know that if you say something, I'm going to hold you accountable to it. Now, if we sit down and we're discussing things and you look at me and say, I disagree with you because, and you show me the information, I'm fine with that. We can discuss it. Not a big deal. Hey, want a Pepsi? I'll buy you one. No big deal. But if you just come up and slam your hand on the table of debate and say, you're wrong, and walk away, yeah, I have to question your character and your integrity all in one shot. It's pretty simple, folks. 1 + 1 = 2. If you can't understand that, then you got bigger problems. Now, I agree, everybody has a right to their opinion. I totally and absolutely agree with that. But, you have to look at the situation and say, is the information that I have, am I able to share that in this setting? Well, of course. Because if you're talking about what I talk about, what Len Beck talks about, what Alex Jones talks about, Pete Santilli, Josh Tolley, whoever, if we're talking about our government being the source of all problems in America, and we have evidence to back up, well, let's just say we have material that we search through to find the information proving that our government has staged false flags to get us into war, that 9/11 is an inside job, that all these school shootings were perpetrated by people whose parents were in some way, shape, or form, directly related to the federal government. We have proof of that. It's not our opinion. We have proof. There it is. Okay? So when this person, and I'm going to call him out. I'm going to call him out. As soon as I find it again and find his name, because for some reason I forgot it. It's one of those days, folks. It's Thursday. Okay? Oh, yeah. Bruce Hutchings. I'm going to call him out. Now, I don't know who he was trying to answer or if he was answering me, but there are a lot of people who say, horse crap, everyone has a right to their opinion. I'm not disagreeing with the fact that everybody has a right to their opinion. I'm not disagreeing with that at all. What I'm saying is, if you have, or if you say something, you better have the information to back it up. That's all I'm saying. If you tell me, again, using me as an example, if you tell me I'm wrong and don't back it up, again, I'm going to question your integrity and character, because obviously, something's wrong on your end. But as we look out at our friends, at our families, we understand that people are going to disagree with us. That's fine. We understand that people have a right to their opinion. That's okay. That's fine. But no one has a right to it's the wrong word I'm using. No one has a right to say something and walk away as if, we're just going to drop this intellectual bomb right here in the middle of you people, and then we're going to walk away and let you stew over it. No. If that happens, you know what happens after that, right? It's that whole process of the ideology of divide and conquer. I mean, that happens. Okay? So, yeah. I want people to think. But I also want them to understand that, well, if you're going to say something, you better have something to back it up with. Okay? I mean, that's all. You have a right to your opinion. I will stand with you on that. Yes, and I agree. But when you say something, you better have something to back it up with. If not, then bye-bye. Have a nice day and enjoy. Because as far as I'm concerned, you don't have anything. Okay? And again, using me as an example. Okay? You've probably run into it someplace on your own, but me. Using me as an example here. And we're coming up to the top of the hour. Like I said, it's going to be an abbreviated show today. Yeah, I have a life outside of this show, So I have to take care of some personal matters. And I don't know about a live show tomorrow. I'm sure I'm going to put up a podcast tomorrow. I don't know at what time, but keep going to Free America Radio on Facebook for more information, or on the Wayne S. Pierce Show Facebook page for more information as well. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, even if you disagree with me, that's okay. Ask me any questions you like. No question is off limits. If I don't know, I'll just tell you I don't know. That's all there is to it. You can email me at freeamericaradio@usa.com. freeamericaradio@usa.com. And if you want to sponsor the show, you can. You don't have to, unless you want to. I would appreciate that. You can donate to the show as well at freeamericaradio.us. I do take Bitcoin and PayPal. If you want emergency food supply, you go to freeamericaradio.us, go to the top of the page. You'll see the link that says emergency food supply. Click on that. Buy as much as you need to help support your family on those days when the power goes out or whatever you need it for. And you'll be helping your family out, and you'll be helping out Free America Radio Network as well. And so thank you. Appreciate that. Top of the hour, folks. We got a lot going on today. Again, abbreviated show. So when I get back, I'll tell you more about that and give you more of the news. Go to Free America Radio on Facebook. Go to freeamericaradio.us for more information. or to listen to the live show or the podcast. And if you want to email me, you can at freeamericaradio@usa.com. That's freeamericaradio@usa.com. Be right back.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates, online at thelibertybeat.com. I'm Brian Hagan with your Liberty Beat for Thursday, September 4th, 2014. Gold opened today at $1,267, silver opened at $19.14, and Bitcoin is trading around $478.87. Today's Bitcoin price brought to you by ExpressCoin, the fastest and most reliable way to buy Bitcoin. Buy Bitcoin today at expresscoin.com. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Michael Cargill for Austin City Council District 1 campaign. Vote Michael Cargill to get the cars moving. Learn more or sign up to volunteer at cargillfortexas.com. Political advertisement paid for by the Michael Cargill for Austin City Council District 1 campaign. In the news, earlier this week, the Travis County Democratic Party held a forum on police brutality and Austin Police Department's use of deadly force policy. The panel included APD Chief Art Acevedo, Austin Police Association President Wayne Vincent, NAACP Chapter President Nelson Linder, and Police Monitor Margot Frazier, among others. During the panel, the topic of body cameras arose. As reported by KXAN, Chief Acevedo told the audience that he will present the council a proposal within the next year for the cameras. Now, this isn't the first time the prospect of cameras for Austin police officers has been on the table. Back in 2011, APD tested out head cameras on several officers, but later decided against the acquisition due to what they said were budget constraints and potential technology issues. A coalition of activists, researchers, family members, and at least one survivor of the 9/11 attacks will be involved with 3 days of events in New York City to mark the 13th anniversary of the September 11th attacks. The groups Ground Zero 911 and Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth are hosting a documentary screening, a speaker symposium, a music event, and outreach at several locations, including Ground Zero, the 9/11 Memorial Museum, and Times Square. Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth have also purchased a billboard outside of the New York Times that asks what happened to World Trade Center 7. The 47-story tall building fell on September 11th, despite not being hit by a plane. For more information on the anniversary events, visit ground0911.com. Support for Liberty Beat comes from Cabo Bob's, Southwestern-style burritos, now with 2 locations in Austin, 500 East Benway Boulevard and 2828 Rio Grande Boulevard. Find them online, cabobobs.com. And support comes from Sovereign Living, a podcast blog and reality show about what it takes to live a voluntary and natural life. Check out the blog, sovereignliving.com, and watch episode 1 of the soon-to-be-released reality show at sovereignliving.tv. This is the Liberty Beat for Thursday, September 4th, 2014. Check out the website at thelibertybeat.com and like us on Facebook at facebook.com/thelibertybeat. A bill passed by the Guatemalan Congress in June is facing backlash from fishing communities and indigenous peoples who fear the destruction of the biodiversity and sovereignty of their food supply. The Plant Varieties Protection Bill, also known as the Monsanto Bill, is being appealed in the Guatemalan Constitutional Court. Under the new law, biotechnology corporations can obtain intellectual property rights for the plant varieties they have created, discovered, or genetically modified. On Wednesday, a federal district judge in Louisiana upheld a state ban on same-sex marriages. Judge Martin L.C. Feldman said the court would stick with a meaning of what marriage is that has endured in history for thousands of years, that he believes to be constitutional. Feldman is the only judge to uphold a ban since the Supreme Court ruled against part of the Federal Defense of Marriage Act in June 2013. Days after the Islamic State released another video depicting the alleged beheading of an American journalist, the internet is abuzz with cries of conspiracy. Many alternative news sites and social media posts are calling the video a fake. Authors and analysts point to the lack of blood coming from the neck of Steven Sotloff and the fact that the video immediately fades to black as the Islamic State captor begins slicing at his neck. While many on the internet believe the video to be a fake, the family of Steven Sotloff is understandably distraught over what has taken place. A representative of the family released a statement earlier this week saying their son was no hero. He was a man simply trying to find good in a world full of darkness. Whether the video be real or fake, one thing is certain. In a world of unmanned aerial drones, planes crashing into buildings, and civilizations clashing around the globe, truth really is stranger than fiction. Today's edition of the Liberty Beat is brought to you by Brave New Books, your source for all things Bitcoin, now hosting a Bitcoin ATM, located in Austin, Texas at 1904 Guadalupe Street, or online at bravenewbookstore.com. This is the Liberty Beat for Thursday, September 4th, 2014. I'm Brian Hagan, reporting.
Don't wait until another natural or man-made disaster strikes. Have at least 72 hours of emergency gear near you at all times, and that includes food. Get your emergency food supply today. Go to freeamericaradio.us, and at the top of the page, click on the emergency food supply link. Help your family by purchasing as much emergency food supply as you need. You'll be helping out your family and Free America Radio Network. Thank you. Howdy, folks. This is the Views Expressed live right here on the Free America Radio Network for the 4th of September, 2014. Hey, if you were with me in the first hour, I said that it was going to be an abbreviated show, and for those that are taking a second hour wanting to know more, you can run something after the bottom of the hour because I'm only doing a half hour. Half hour more of the show. So this is Reverend Wayne S. Pierce. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, and even if you disagree with me, please, I want to know. Please. Free America Radio at USA.com. Free America Radio at USA.com. Put in the subject line radio so I know you heard the show. Lots of things going on, and I want to get right to it because I don't have that much time. Big sadness today in the world of entertainment. Big, when I say sadness, yeah. Big sad news coming out of the entertainment world today as we see and hear that Joan Rivers has passed away at the age of 81, and she was in her doctor's office for a throat problem when she all of a sudden just had a problem bigger than her throat, and I guess her heart decided not to work too well at that moment. They did a medically induced coma to help her be comfortable. And I don't know the whole details, but as of today, Melissa Rivers, her daughter, has given a statement stating that all she wanted to do, all her mother wanted to do was make people laugh. And Melissa Rivers is, from everything that I've seen, is a very caring person, and her mother was too. A lot of people didn't like her. I don't know why, but behind the scenes, people were saying that she was very caring, very, very open. Funny lady. I remember watching her on the Tonight Show and other shows as well. She had her own talk show as well. And it's a loss. We've lost Robin Williams. We've lost someone else I can't remember in the last few days. We've lost Joan Rivers. It's incredible how people look at life and say, well, yeah, I got time. No, you don't. No, you don't. I seriously think that people who say that they have time really don't understand the concept of their own lives. Now, I say that in full understanding of what happened with Robin Williams, and of course, as of today, with Joan Rivers. She was 81, so she lived a really good life. She opened up a lot of doors for women in comedy. And when you make that much of an impact on society, no matter who you are, no matter if you're a celebrity, a philosopher, a doctor, whatever, when you make that much of an impact on life and on people around you, that they would come out in the thousands for your funeral, I would say you had a good life. People came out in thousands for the funeral of Elvis Presley when he passed away on August 16th, 1977. People came out in the hundreds, almost thousands, when celebrities die. Sometimes they die in obscurity. Sometimes you see talent, no matter what it is. You can be a CEO of a company and have a talent of leading people and all of that, and nobody really pays attention to you. You can be a TV personality in your local town, and you may have hundreds of people coming out to your funeral when you pass away, but the point is that you don't have time, folks. You don't have time. Get the gut check. Look in the mirror and ask yourself, do I have time? Let me ask you a question, and I do this every once in a while to people. Where were you on the day after you graduated high school? Where were you? I know where I was. I know where I was. But where were you? You remember that? Where were you on the day that you went out on your first date? You remember that? Do you remember the time that you got your first car? Or you graduated college, if you went to college? Do you remember your first accident? You don't have time, folks. You don't have time to pussyfoot around and just think that everything's going to be just fine. You don't have time. You can look around you and see that there are forces beyond your imagination ready to pounce on you, taking your rights away, taking everything away that you ever thought was important to you. And you're sitting on your couch watching Dancing with the Stars? Or sitting in your easy chair watching ESPN? You don't have time, folks. You don't have time. Time is something that is far beyond the understanding even of the smartest man in the world. You don't have time. You can use time. You can make time, set aside a few moments to do something. You can plan within the time frame to do certain things, but you don't have it. You don't possess it. maybe you do in a way. Because from the time you're born, you're dying. From the time that you open your eyes, you're beginning to get older. Minute by, second by second, minute by minute, hour by hour. One day you know that you're being held by your mother and your father. Next thing you know, you're graduating high school, graduating college. Next thing you know, you're holding your baby in your arms. Next thing you know, your baby, who is now grown up, is pushing you around in a wheelchair. Or visiting you in the old folks' home. I don't mean to be so depressive, but we don't have time. We don't have time to listen to the bull crap that is in your state-run media at all about what is happening in our world today and thinking that everything is just fine. We don't have time. And some of you keyboard warriors out there know exactly what I'm talking about. Take for instance the moment when you remember, and anyone over 45 probably remembers this, maybe, when in 1974, President Richard M. Nixon resigned from office. Take, for instance, the day that Ronald Reagan won the presidency in 1981. Take, for instance, the day that President-elect or Senator Bill Clinton was on the Arsenio Hall show playing saxophone. Take, for instance, the day that Barack Hussein Obama was elected President of the United States in 2008. Do you remember where you were? You don't have time. You don't have time to sit around and say, well, maybe if we did this and maybe if we did that. No. What's that old adage? Actions speak louder than words. Well, I like to add to that. Yeah, actions do speak louder than words. But you need to make your actions known, and you need to make them as loud and as proud as you can yell. You and others need to stand out in the streets, on the corners. I don't give a crap if they got a sign on there that says free speech zone. Tear it down. And you tell people, I got a voice, and my voice says this is the United States of America, and everybody else who doesn't like it can leave now. This is the United States of America, and we don't have time to deal with pussyfooting criminals in Washington, D.C. We need to arrest them and charge them with treason now. We don't have time to deal with the bull crap on this state-run media on MSNBC with Al Sharpton. We don't need to listen to that pathetic waste of a human being, that race baiter, or his friend Jesse Jackson. We don't have time to deal with the BS anymore. We don't have time, folks. Now, I know that some people might say, well, if it's so bad, why are we doing anything? I mean, if it's eventually and inevitably going to collapse, why are we doing anything? Because of the common denominator in all life. And the ultimate in what we are and what we can do. The ultimate goal is to survive. And if the United States of America, under the Constitution and the Bill of Rights of the United States of America, prior to 1871, is to survive, then we have to take action now, because we don't have time to waste. Now, I know that some people might say, well, you're calling for a coup. No. I'm calling for a mental evolution. Isn't that a nice phrase? Let me tell you exactly what that is. Wake up. You're being duped. You're being buffaloed. You're being lied to. I can go on with all sorts of metaphors, but I won't. We don't have time. You can email me, freeamericaradio@usa.com, freeamericaradio@usa.com. And I know I'm going to be asked the question, what do we do? What's the plan? It's whatever you believe is right for you. Yeah, protesting works. We've seen it. Protesting works. But how about we talk to our military personnel that are retired, that have come back from the field of battle? Why don't we talk to them and gather them up? And talk to our state's citizens militia, the constitutional militia. And why don't we put both of them people together, the retired military and the militia, in every single state, and make our voices heard? The only strength that the local militia, the state's militia, the constitutional militia, and these former military personnel have, the only voice they have is yours and mine. We have to support them. Because the federal government now has militarized police force under the Department of Homeland Security, and they will stop at nothing to mow us down. The Army manual that was leaked last week and probably a year ago has in it, has orders in it, has the playbook, if you will, says that the military is going to help out law enforcement suppress political dissent with lethal force. So you tell me, you right there, tell me, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? I can only say that or I should put it this way, actually, I encourage you to do what you believe is right. But I also encourage you to take a look at what's out there and examine the situations and circumstances that you find yourself in and ask yourself those tough questions. There are some police forces, the governors of some states, well, not so much the governors, but the city mayors and personnel and others are saying, we need to tell the law enforcement to get rid of their military equipment. And guess what? They're saying, no, we're not getting rid of it. So there you go. With a stroke of a pen, it's going to happen. With the stroke of a pen, the New World Order will take over the United States of America, if they haven't already taken it over in some symbolic way. And we're screwed, people. Well, if that's the end result, then why are we defending our rights and everything? Because our founding fathers said that, excuse me, our founding fathers had said, had implemented 3 branches of government for this very reason, that one branch shouldn't rule over the other 2. But in 2014, that's exactly what's happening through the executive branch headed up by the President of the United States of America. And our founding fathers also talked about a central bank, that if we had one, then we would be in debt. Guess what? 2014, we're in debt to the tune of $18 trillion. USDebtClock.org. And with the derivatives out there, the monopoly money that they're pulling out of their heads and just making stuff up as they go along, it's somewhere in the vicinity of about $60 to $70 trillion that they're not showing you. Worldwide, or I should say, on another side of that scale, it is said that we owe upwards to $800 trillion to $2.5 quadrillion in derivatives. Fake money pulled out of their ass, folks. You ever played Monopoly? That's pretty much what they're playing with. Okay? So what are you going to do about it? We don't have time to waste anymore, people. We have to get up and go do something. We have to take care of ourselves, our families, our counties, our states, because the federal government isn't doing it. That's just the way it is. I feel my heart goes out to those people who are on Social Security disability. I know you need it. Don't get me wrong. I know you need it. I know you've probably had it for years. But it's going to end soon. Because they're controlling everything there is that's going into your home. Have you ever tried to get a full, thorough physical or get teeth fixed or whatever when you're on the government healthcare plan, whatever it is? Has that ever happened? If you go to the dentist, they say, well, we can't fix it, we can pull it. That's all they do. Okay? That's all they do. So I'm going to make a suggestion here. I want to hopefully encourage you folks who are on Social Security disability, who can get around fairly decently, to look at this. How about trying to develop a business of your own and get off the dole, get off the government handouts? Because that's what they are, basically. They're entitlements. No, they're handouts, folks. How about developing some skills within yourself to go develop a company on your own and do things on your own and feel proud for yourself, knowing that you go to work every day in a business that you created with something that you are talented enough to create, and make a living by doing that? How about doing that? I got a few more minutes here, like a minute and a half, so I want to say, hey, thank you very much for listening to the Views Expressed live today. Again, it's an abbreviated show. I got some things to take care of. My apologies. But please, go to Free America Radio on Facebook. There's going to be more information there as well. I may have a podcast tomorrow. I might be live tomorrow at the same time, same channel, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. I don't know, though. So just keep going to Free America Radio on Facebook and check things out. I'll let you all know tomorrow, of course. But remember, folks, this is important. We don't have time to waste anymore. We don't have time. We have to get active now, proactive against this bull crap coming out of Washington, D.C. Ladies and gentlemen, I have to say this, and I want to make this perfectly clear. We the people have the power, for we are America.